Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the 1982 Christmas special Diamonds Are Forever, which aired during Series 2 of Only Fools and Horses on the 30th of December. So yeah, overall opinions on the episode was a fairly good episode. It touches into certain emotions that Del Boy's been feeling for a while, that he needs a kind of proper family. And rather than just having, well, obviously, Rodney and Grandad. So he kind of taps into the fact that he needs to get his own family in a way, and I think that's a really nice touch. And Del Boy ends up meeting a lovely woman called Heather, and they fall in love. And you kind of see kind of the love story going on throughout the episode. But I think it's a really great episode anyway. It shows Del when he's kind of really happy, which you sometimes don't see. I'm really glad that this episode is a Christmas special, and you can feel the kind of Christmassy elements. Quite a few bits scattered through there, but it's not really like a direct message at all. But it is very enjoyable. I've always loved this Christmas special. I think it's a brilliant one. Not people don't normally talk about it that much because I feel like the Christmas link isn't as direct, but it does bring up families very important at Christmas, and is shown through this because there are moments with Grandad and Rodney where they feel a bit more isolated from Del, and I think that's a bit sad. But it's kind of I like the touch because Rodney and Grandad have a really great relationship, but then so did Del and Rodney. So that's a really great thing I like about that. The episode begins in the Nag's Head where we have Del Boy, Rodney, and Grandad, and they're all sat in the pub, and they're listening to the local band, which are like some kind of a Spanish band they have in there, and they're all like singing all kind of Spanishy kind of esque songs, and then Del says, "Play old ship or something." Old ship, and I think it's about the song's about an old dog. Yeah, about an old dog, and basically, Del's absolutely infatuated with this song because he gets mentioned later on towards the end of the episode as well. So it's a good kind of song that they use though, heavily scattered out throughout it, and then Del meets Heather at the bar, and they kind of fall in love from there, and then obviously Del takes her back home, well, takes her out for dinner and clubbing, which you don't see. That happens off screen. That's a bit of a shame. But yeah, he takes her out, and then he brings her back home, and once he takes her home, they're then faced with this bloke, and this bloke's looking after Heather's baby, and Darren, I believe his name. I think that's right. It's definitely Darren. I'm pretty sure. And so basically takes well, Del goes to Heather's house, and in there they have the guy who's looking after Darren, and Del starts getting really nervous because he obviously thinks that that's her husband and all that kind of stuff. So that's rather funny. You get kind of a few funny moments here and there, but I think that's really great. And the guy says to Heather, "Oh, I need to get used to people like him." It's like, which is a bit horrible to tell, if I'm honest. Yeah, so that's a bit of a weird thing. And he mentions about going to university. This bloke, he's a bit, he was a bit interesting guy anyway. He was a bit of a random character. He didn't really need to be there, but he was anyway. So he was a bit odd. But then we cut to kind of one of the things that this episode's probably one of the things that this episode's known for is the kind of sequence of having the song Zoom played. So the song like Zoom, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about, hopefully. But the song Zoom plays whilst Del's playing with Darren, doing stuff with Heather, and there's lots of funny scenes. They go to the zoo at one point, and it's all that kind of family stuff. And I really feel like this is what Del always wanted: a family that he could be with, a little boy he could play with, and then obviously a wife. And if things had worked out differently, I feel like this could have been the way you could have exited Only Fools and Horses, by having Del settle down, which I think's what you kind of see. We see that later on, with Damon and Raquel, but that's ages away compared to now. Yeah, so I really do like that, seeing into what Del's like as a kind of a father, really. So that was a nice little thing. Rodney and Grandad are very sidelined in this episode. There's no kind of get rich quick scheme in this episode. That's not really kind of the focus at all. The focus is on Heather, because hence why it's called Diamonds Are for Heather. The main focuses are on Heather and Del, mainly a love story. It does kind of take the name of, James Bond filmed. Diamonds Are for Ever. Yeah, that makes any sense. Yeah, that's where they kind of took the name from. But I really do love the episode. And I do love, another thing I love about the episode is there's a scene where Del's eating an ice cream, and then Heather's going to take a photo, and then takes a photo and his ice cream goes like that because of the little boy Darren had pushed him into his face. So that was funny. There's a scene where they play football, and that's rather enjoyable, where Del and Darren are playing football, and it's really funny, and Rodney and Grandad get a few good moments there whilst they're by the van, and because Rodney and Grandad were like, "Oh, it's a bit weird. You sit in the passenger seat and your name's Heather," because Del had written this sign on the window that said Del in the driver's seat and then Heather in the passenger seat, and like Grandad's like, it was a bit funny when you sit there. Which I think's a little bit funny there. I love that kind of joke there. And also, the ending I think is really sad, because you really want Del to make it work and to be married to Heather, but it just doesn't work, and it's so sad, really. I do like the scene in the curry house where Del's like, "Oh yeah, I would like some Uncle Ben rice, please." It's like, "No, we have pilau rice," and it's like, and then Del's like, "Oh, I'll just have that one." Yeah. But I've got to say, Del was a lot of food at the Indian. How does he eat it all? Where does it all go? So, yeah, I really enjoy this episode. I think it's a great one. Kind of underrated, though. No one ever really talks about it. It turns 40 years old on the 30th of December. I'm obviously releasing this a lot earlier than that. But yeah, that's what I kind of think of the episode. A general kind of feeling of family and togetherness, and it's something you can all enjoy over Christmas. It's absolutely amazing. You get to see more focus on Del Boy than probably most of the other stories. I don't know whether anyone else has picked up on this, but it's shot rather unusually. It might be just me, but I just picked up that it was shot a bit weirdly. But what I have to say is that it's amazing. A joke that happens in the flat towards the end was where Del's keeps on looking at a mirror, and Rodney said, "Oh, until I was about 4, I thought you were twins," or something like that. And that's a really funny joke. I believe that joke was reused from a previous script, if I'm not too mistaken, because I'm pretty sure it was used in another episode, maybe in series 1 or 2. But yeah, so that's a funny joke, and I picked up on that. Yeah, so that's kind of what I think of the episode, really. Key plot points are mainly that Del kind of falls in love with Heather, and I do really enjoy them. I was always been wondering if they hadn't have brought back Raquel for the Jolly Boys outing, would they have brought back Heather or someone else? Because it's never exactly certain he could have done, but I think that Del and Heather had a really strong relationship, as seen throughout this entire episode. But they did have a really close relationship, and obviously Darren's father is a key factor into most of it, because it's supposed to be like he's similar to Reg Trotter, who left him 18 years ago in 1964. It's supposed to be like that kind of, and I think that's a nice little touch as well, because obviously Del hasn't had very good experience with certain people, i.e. his father. His and Rodney's dad's a bit of an idiot. Yeah, so I like to see some of the parallels there mentioned, because we don't really get some of the. Reg doesn't get mentioned that much in the show, so that was nice. We also kind of had a lot more of the scenes where Del was playing with Darren, and I really do like the relationship between Del and Darren. DD, Del and Darren, Del and Dave. That's a joke. Yeah. What I would like to say would be that it's amazing that this episode. It's just amazing. I absolutely love it, and I hope you all enjoyed the video.